Series Daytona prototype. And now the hammer comes down, the green flag is in the air, and we're underway at Sebring.
Barbosa takes the lead. Look at Ricky Taylor in the Velocity Worldwide machines. He stuffs it down the inside of Olivier Pla. They're side by side through turn one.
Ricky Taylor really timed that perfectly, got to the inside. He knows this track very well.
And now the track narrows down.
You would expect these Daytona prototype configuration cars, the cars that currently 1-2, they're heavier. Their tires should come in a little bit quicker than the lightweight P2 cars, Dorsey.
That's a very good point, Calvin. With that extra weight, they do come in quicker. The lighter weight cars take about another half a lap longer before they can really get maximum grip.
Through Gurney Bend and down towards one of the signature corners here at Sebring International, the hairpin.
Right now, you just want to keep it clean. You want to get those tires, pressures up, temperatures up. There we see a little bit of side-by-side action. I think that's Pruitt going through.
First gear hairpin down there. You come all the way up through into fourth gear right here. They break for turn 10. We'll see a lot of overtaking into this corner during the 12-hour.
Scott Dixon looking pretty racy in the 0-2 car. Two Chip Ganassi Racing entries here once again, just like we saw at Daytona. It was a rough road at Daytona for the Chip Ganassi squad running that new Ford EcoBoost engine, but they've come back strong. Look very good in practice here this week.
Barbosa trying to stretch a lead now, make it a little more comfortable for himself. Nobody breathing down his neck.
Into the Lamar corner. Very important because it sends you on to that long back straightaway.
Good idea right there. Good view of how rough this racetrack is. That's all concrete. It was laid in 1942. Yeah, it's a little bumpy.
Long back stretch down into turn 17. This is the bumpiest corner on the racetrack and one of the highest speed. You just bucket through here. It's tough to find the line. Even when you get it right, you still think, I left a little bit on the table. When you try and go quicker, you'll end up in the wall.
I just figured you got it.
Caution Perez, there's a procedure that we'll dig into as this race progresses, but it's not over. You'd think, oh boy, you know, we're a lap down or whatever as the leaders now come down the front straightaway, but just got to stay cool, Dorsey.
You're absolutely right. I think the year I won this race, we were at 1.2 laps down, but doesn't mean a thing. There's a long way to go.
Westbrook down the inside of the Starworks entry.
Good clean pass there. He let his intentions known early. That's what you should do. So the other driver knows that you're going to make an attempt. Too early to be, you know, messing up right now in a 12-hour. Jumping on the throttle a little too hard, which I think is exactly what's about to happen. Yeah, breaks the rear end free when he got on the throttle.
He got tagged a little bit there by the wheel and DP.
Yes, barely got it. So it's stopping here. Okay, so see, he's lost a fuel line or something. He's
something broke.
I wonder if he just, whether it's stopped and then he refired it. And then
you can see it's been leaking something because the fire goes back before where the car is. So, I mean, you either got a massive fuel leak or you've got oil. I'm suspecting it's probably going to be a fuel leak just because the way it keeps reigniting. Usually by the time you get an oil fire knocked down, it stays down. But
I wouldn't be surprised for them to stop the field because I think it's getting to a dangerous point. That fire.
Yeah, they can't pass him to start finish line. I was about to say some of these guys might want to pounce on that car.
Yeah, green flag waves, then you can go, but you got to wait for the green. You got different classes right at the front. There's Bruno Junqueira in that blue open cockpit prototype. That's an LMPC car. So we see the Action Express car get around Sharpie.
This will be good.
Look at this on the move.
It's a log jam down into turns 2 and 3. It gets really tight here.
3 wide through turn 3 there. You don't see that often.
Lucas Lur there forces the Muscle Milk entry inside of Scott Sharp. Remember, Scott Sharp didn't change tires. Maybe he's struggling here to find grip.
Past the scene of the incident.
See the oil dry or the dust. We're going to see that for a few laps.
The battle on the brakes down into the hairpin.
Ricky Taylor looks to the outside, side by side here, coming off the hairpin. Great stuff.
And right now it appears there's no catching Andy Mayrick in that Delta Wing.
Boy, he's got it going, doesn't he?
Yes,
he
he
was
does.
Very impressive at Daytona. Had decent speed here. This isn't probably the best configuration of racetrack to take advantage of that low drag machine like Daytona and the high speed nature of that circuit.
Official numbers on the caution flag. 15 laps of caution, 59 total minutes under yellow.
Lucas Lur pushing hard in the Muscle Milk entry. He's up to third now. Chasing Joao Barbosa. He's won here at Sebring in class 5 times, looking for that overall win.
So here's a good example of what the TWIR United Sports Car Championship is
Buddy,
all
awesome
about.
job. Hang with that 5 car. Delta Wing still ahead.
Delta Wing leading the former Daytona prototypes, leading the former LMP2 car. An LMPC car in close attendance. I bet this little Delta Wing is getting a cheer from the massive crowd gathered here at Sebring.
That's one of those you love it or you hate.
Racing entries, made his intentions known. Don't think about the inside lane.
This is the part of the racetrack I was talking about, or trying to, at the top of the show. Those concrete blocks were there on New Year's Eve in 1950.
Look at this. Look at that yellow Corvette. That's a GTLM machine, which will have more speed, but he's just trapped in amongst the GTD category right now. Got to be careful, got to be patient. Remember, that 3 car is trying to come from behind. Don't cause more damage to the race car.
I was here when they removed some of those concrete blocks, if you will, to make the racetrack on the backside more like a real racetrack. And those things are over 2 feet thick per chunk. Just a tremendous amount of concrete around this place.
Look how close these classes are. A lot of the GTLM drivers say we can't compete with these GTD machines on the straightaways. The reason being is the GTD car doesn't have all of the high downforce bodywork, which slows you down. Yes, it gives you grip, but causes drag down the straightaway. Look at this action, the 30 car.
Oh, he got turned. No damage there if he doesn't get stuck in that sand.
Difficult Rolex 24 at Daytona, finishing 12th in class with lots of
man,
issues.
He got collected.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with that. He got a nudge.
I think that's turn 13, and that is one of those areas of the racetrack. If the car in front of you brakes a little bit harder, you're kind of committed, Dorsey, and there's nothing you can do. We saw it last year with some of the different categories racing together over in turn 13. Problem here, left front
left
down.
front. Yeah, I was going to say, when you see a car go straight like that, there's an indication it presented another problem. When it got wet in particular.
Oh, look at this. Gavin stuffs it down the inside. Locks up a little bit. Locked the rear brakes as he turned in. Great stuff.
And he's got a windshield full of different class cars.
Well, it's like the racing version of Groundhog Day. I mean, you literally hardly get a corner or two. I was talking to Barry, and you can't afford to wait. The days of when you could afford to be patient because you were pacing yourself, those are gone. And so the guy in front has a little tougher time because he's the first guy getting there. And so it sounds like, battle for second. Porsche inside Oliver Gavin.
And gets the task accomplished.
Assist you. But as we watch coming through the notorious turn 17, the turn of BMW was pretty out of shape there, and I'm not sure that the number 8 got unsighted and hit bumps and just spun it round. Of course, then we heard on the radio the starter motor wasn't working. And often when you watch
to drive, this is down in 17. Wow, the 51 just
in too hot or had some sort of a braking issue.
That is the best thing about a lot of cars leaving the racing surface right now. This is where the 85.
He's already committed to going to the left, and that car maybe on cold tires leaving the pits. Just lost it.
And down that little short chute through that very tight right, left onto the straight, and there you have it as you're just unwinding. That's pretty. And Scott has a nice clean start.
And unlike the initial start where you have to wait until you cross start finish to improve position, the minute you hear green on the radio or you watch the yellows to drop at the individual corners, race is on, you can pass anywhere.
Scott Dixon with a big leap at the drop of the green has begun to pull away because you look back through the field, the next prototype entry that he's racing with is mired back in this gaggle of cars.
Saw some action there. The Viper losing 2 spots to the Porsches.
Christensen just blasted past there on the inside of 17 there because he has to, because up in front of him are first and second place.
Corvette, the number 4, Tommy Milner, all over the back of that red Ferrari. Matteo Malicelli for Risi Competizione. So great to see Malicelli back after the huge impact that he took in that crash with Memo Gidley at the Rolex 24. Back and still very quick.
And remember the finish last year where Tommy Milner put in that unbelievable final stint and was able to track down that Ferrari and get around him to win the Rolex last year. And that was one where I think Tommy Milner really kind of came into his own. We talk about who you want in the car at the end. It's always been Ollie Gavin, but last year they wanted Tommy Milner in at the end, and he delivered the goods.
And I think we're seeing him set him up now for the back straight as he comes through onto turn 15. He's going to be going onto the back straight there, but the Corvette looked like it has the edge in handling through the infield. So let's see if he's got the pace down the straight coming into 17.
Bad news for Klaus Groff and his Muscle Pickett Racing team. They'll have to come down pit road for a speeding violation during that last stop, and he'll have to serve it under green. That's not what they wanted to see.
And you saw him go off the road in 13. That might be when they delivered the news to him. Honestly.
Yeah. What?
Papa on the front, his father's pretty ill and his dad's been a huge supporter, was at a lot of Trans Am races and everything. So Tommy, who brings a sponsor to get in one of these cars, actually forgave or forgone.
Forwent.
Up there, I've enjoyed it. And right now, Scott Dixon enjoying a clear racetrack in front of him as the green flag falls. We're back to racing, and you see the number 10 Corvette, that black and orange number 10 Corvette, get bottled up on the inside, and around the outside, the number 5 of Sebastian Bourdais from Action Express sweeps high around the outside, and Max Angelelli disappears back to third. He got caught in traffic.
And it's worth pointing out, you know, that Ganassi car commented how it doesn't, the new paint job, that Big Machine Records, Scott Dixon is the big machine. He's been in that car almost 3 hours on this hot day. There is a maximum drive time. You cannot drive more than 4 hours. I suspect that they'll run this tank out and then they'll switch him out. But he's earned his keep already.
I think the other thing to note is history plays a lot here at Sebring, and Calvin talked about it earlier. The Daytona prototype teams, they don't have a lot of data from here, and a lot of the teams that came from the American Le Mans Series who have run here for years and years have that data. So you look back on it, if you've not had any experience here or much experience in a Daytona prototype-based prototype, you might be missing some of those little magic tweaks that you need to get around this very bumpy circuit.
Not only does that have data here, in this configuration with the big wing and the diffuser, they don't have very much data anywhere other than a little bit of testing, and the spec has changed continuously, so it's putting more load through all of those parts. So a big question mark. What we think of as a proven package is maybe not as proven, especially on this the roughest circuit that we go to.
When you look at what we have here in terms of the driver lineup we're staring at in that car, I mean, João Barbosa, Max Angelelli, we know them. They're our sports car heroes. But this is like the good old days. To have an IndyCar champion like Scott Dixon out front and Tony Kanaan just waiting to get in, it's amazing to me because the fans are really responding, because it's almost like we're hosting such a good party that they want to come to it. And I think, I mean, you've got to thank Chip Ganassi for
Action Express rolling down pit road. You see that in the box on the left as you watch the action, and a big crash. It's the 62 running third in GT. Matteo Malicelli off in turn 1. Extensive damage to the left side of that Ferrari.
Oh, I think I just could hear Giuseppe Risi from up in the tower here. Oh my God, this team is just, I mean,
wow, that's a big
having
hit.
a hard.
Oh
no! That
was the 30 Momo entry in the GT Daytona category.
Rejoining the track, he got right into the middle of that oncoming traffic. Turn 17, the X of it is so committed.
To go, does not have near the gap because he does not have cars between him like on the last restart.
I was going to say, he doesn't have the luxury that he had the last time the green flag flew, because right behind him, the number 5, Sebastian Bourdais. Then behind him, the black number 10, Max Angelelli, Michael Valiente in the blue 90 Corvette, and then the 01 of Memo Rojas. So it's prototypes filling the top 6 spots on track, at least the top 6 spots, and maybe the top 7 or so. So this is going to be a battle on board the 01 with Memo Rojas.
And those guys up front know each other. Dixon and Bourdais will be going after each other in 2 weeks on the streets of St. Petersburg in their Indy cars.
And if you don't think that they give 110% here the way they would in the IndyCar, you are wrong. These guys are competitors, and they are digging every moment. Rojas just a little wide at the exit of the hairpin.
And they're all over each other right now. So one slip up, one mistake, 1 inch, and the guy behind's going to try and force his hand. But it's interesting, isn't it, as we watch these DPs they with the prototype right up his chuff there as he goes into this very complex sequence. It's this for me is all about setting up the guy. This whole sequence, you can't really go by anyone here, but it's all about where is the guy fast. I mean, coming down this little straight into this left-right combination before you go down the back straight is very dynamically tough on the car and the driver. So these guys are on the limit here as they come round. But look, Dixon has pulled out a nice little gap.
It really gives you a view of where the different type of prototype is strong and where it suffers a little bit. It's David Brabham in the one, all over that rear wing of Memo Rojas in front as they come down the long straightaway. You'll get an idea of
Race Corvettes at Sebring. Sebastian Bourdais, Max Angelelli, followed by Sage Karam, David Brabham, Memo Rojas, your top 5.
Look at Sage Karam. He jinks around the outside of Angelelli and takes back that second position. Boy, oh boy, the Indy Lights champion is on it.
Max went to the inside. He got on the brakes, and the car was in the bumps and started hopping up and down. I don't think he realized it was that rough over there.
The Ganassi squad have been very impressed with the pace of this young man who's behind the wheel of the O2 right now, and he is showing his stuff.
I had a long chat with the man you just heard from, Mike Hull, about Sage Karam at the recent test leading into this year's 12 Hours. And you're right, Calvin, they are very impressed with what this kid can do.
See how bumpy it is right there going to the hairpin. This racetrack has settled in, and it's created all these bumps. It didn't used to be there when they paved this some years back.
Look at this. He wants the
Man.
lead. He wants it now. He is pushing hard. He's down the inside. Bourdais will let him have it. He doesn't want to fight too hard.
You see how rough it was when he got offline. He pushed him all the way to the grass.
He is twitched up.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That was really, really loose through there.
Remember, at 4 hours, there's going to be those endurance points awarded. So we're 11 minutes from that mark. That may be why they've let him loose.
Sage Karam from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, home of the legendary Andretti family of racers. And there must be something in the water in Nazareth.
Trone North American Endurance Cup. That's very much a part of these first 2 championship rounds.
This is going to be devastating. The 10 is getting a penalty, guys, and it's going to be a big one. Stop and hold for 60 seconds.
Seems like the Action Express car, they've said you're okay. They pitted exactly 10 seconds apart from one another, so they're saying that the Action Express was committed to pit lane, but Angelelli had the option to stay out, and he didn't. So it's going on with drivers by themselves.
Well, that was a spin early in the corner. I think he got caught off by that BMW, possibly. Oh, he did bend.
Maybe he just had to jump on the brakes a little bit harder, hit a bump, and got turned around on that approach to 17.
It's young Canadian David Ostella, who has driven 2 long endurance races in his career. He won here in class last year and finished on the podium in January at the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
Traffic jam. Sebring.
The WeatherTech car in white with black trim in the middle of this gaggle.
Looks like one of the Porsches dragging something off the left rear, unless it's just some loose bodywork, possibly. The blue car there. I don't think it's any problem.
Back on board the 22. Rumbum up ahead. Excuse 911. This is the factory GTLM car.
Been on the radar, under the radar, so to speak, in terms of having a gold status, which would eliminate them.
That's an interesting ripple in the driver market. Somebody who's good, but not so experienced.
As we say, silver drivers, good silver driver is golden.
Great battle in GTD here, including a couple of Audis. We haven't talked
points.
Really
doesn't count right now.
The Mazda held up.
Oh, and there goes Latif around.
That really helped out the O2 car. I think Sage is going to be well clear of any pressure.
Look, as you pointed out, Calvin, there was some damage at the back of Ostella's car, which might not have turned as well as it should have.
He clearly was in the dirty part of the racetrack. That's when the car just started going straighter. It appears like it goes straight. Actually, what it does is it quits turning.
Yeah, and it caught that left front, and that kind of turned the front in, so it wasn't like a head-on, you know, full force impact there.
So Stella goes round, and there, the car gets hit at the back. Montecalvo.
He was lucky not to hit the pit wall, you know.
Without control, straight across the track.
That's the best thing I've seen today.
Types 1 through 10, Bourdais, Karam, Dial, Fogarty, Wilson, Rojas, Rockefeller, Yakiman, Pagenaud, and Taylor. 5 and 6 wide, including the 01 way over there. Memo Rojas.
That was tight. That was really tight. Memo nearly got squeezed by that ESM Patron car.
And a very dirty line over there as well. Just lock up.
Oh, we got trouble.
Now what?
That's GT. That's all GTD cars.
Yep. The
All
81,
together.
46, we got a Porsche, an Audi, and a Ferrari.
That's at pit in again. That's right at pit in.
Yeah, that's exit 17. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's turn 17, right under the Mobile One bridge.
They got into it before they even got to the corner.
Really?
Of course, when it's green, you go, so you don't have to get to the front straightaway anymore. You do on the initial start, but green is go.
Obviously, one of them got. It wasn't his fault, but here's what happened down on that GTDs.
Out wide. A lot of right front wheels off the ground. A Ferrari spins.
All three of them together.
Yeah,
Like
I guess they were
looked like
kind
the
of,
Audi went
Here's
to
a
the
better look
inside,
here.
then maybe had to use a bit more brake, and then loses the rear end, I think.
Yeah, I think
Gets
there's
into the
contact.
Ferrari. Yeah, there was contact.
And then takes out the Porsche, too.
89 was just an innocent bystander.
Yeah, there's not much anybody could have done about that.
Aboard the 45 Audi from Flying Lizards. Yeah.
And Sage
Sage Karen's getting alongside.
Well, you got to wait for the next corner station before you can go.
And the Mazda is providing a
Block.
Look at this.
right.
Number 1 car, Ryan Dial, looks like he's looking for a way by.
Yeah, I think it has it, too.
They'll take Karam for second.
And again, we've got 2 different configurations of race car in the prototype.
Oh, he gets right in the back of the. Nothing to get hit
Well,
here.
he must get hit, I think.
Kind of right in harm's way.
Somebody's going to clip him.
Now there's where you don't want to be, looking at the oncoming
No,
traffic.
that's not good at all.
Got
That's-
him.
There it is. Here it is.
Oh, the 94.
It's a 94.
Yeah,
Turner
94.
Motorsports.
That's a car that's been leading in GTD.
And it just drove right
Oh,
through
boy.
the right front wheel and tire.
See how dusty it is, the sandy soil here around Sebring. They've been running water.
I mean,
Yeah, they all freight train you.
yeah, they freight train you and you're going to go backwards. Look here.
Yeah, you don't lose one spot.
Just a little bit of patience. Suddenly the 32's down the inside and diving by you.
Past the Aston Martin of Chris Wilson.
Well, one of the drivers said it earlier. I mean, it's a 12-hour race, but they turned it to a sprint race pretty much. You run really, as hard as you can the whole entire stint. But this year, it's taken its toll, no doubt.
Board here again. Spencer Pumpelly behind the wheel. They came.
Technical director for the historic sports racing series. Dorsey, that's you.
See, that's not only half the problem. There goes the other half of the problem.
Wow,
right
I think
there.
I'd be firing my pit crew at this stage.
Really?
Yeah,
Yep, he drove the wheels right off that one.
that's nutty.
Whoa.
Your car has the advantage on restart.
It's like Memo Rojas was looking
Look
racy.
at how rough it is when they're down on that inside.
That's a great shot, and that really puts it in perspective.
Get up out of
Flag,
here.
here we go. Look at this, though. Justin Wilson looking for a way by Sage Karam. The need for speed, number 60.
There's a good speed shot there. Gives you an idea how quick these guys are going.
Oh, a little bit of lock up there by Sage Karam as he gets in really deep, and he runs wide. You saw him lock the brake up there a little bit.
And there's Wilson right on him, but Karam somehow manages to hold him off.
Yeah, he got in there really deep. You saw a puff of tire smoke as he got on the brakes really deep, and that running wide into the next corner. He hung on to it, but this is what Mike Hull was telling Chris Neville. They said, be patient, but he's a young driver with a lot of passion, a lot of speed. He's run wide again.
Yep, and he locked up again.
Oh, this is going to be tight. This is going to be tight. He's got to give it up.
Oh, yeah?
He's going to fight.
Yeah, but Justin's going to have the inside line for the next brake zone.
Right-hander coming up.
Yep.
Turn 10, yeah, I'll get him right there.
Still doesn't want to give it to him.
Yeah, now that's how you do it. Maintain space all the way. I'm sure Race Control was loving that.
That's great racing.
Remember, he was talking about that car being tight, that we're going to do something to try to loosen it up. I don't know that they haven't gotten a bit too loose. It seems like the back of the car dancing a bit.
Yeah, I just think it was maybe the tires just weren't up to temp yet, or they just didn't have the balance yet. I mean, there's not much you can do under these caution periods. You can work. Most guys, you see the guys weaving around, that's really just to clean the tires off. Warming the tire, you're better off to really just brake really heavily. Try and get the heat to go through the brake system, through the wheel itself, and then into the tire to heat it up.
Somebody slow in the straight again with the Astons.
The Astons, the 007 car.
Be curious to see here how the 02 and the 01 match up in pace. So far in this race, the 02 has had a good second plus on the sister car. Let's see what Rojas has for them in this stint. All his best friends around him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He'd be.
They were like magnets mid-season last
my
year. It
gosh.
seemed like every race they were into each other. Started at Detroit, and we had Mid-Ohio, and never seemed to end.
He better be looking in the mirror when he sees that.
That's all you want to hear. You got John Foot. Oh, he's all over the dirt. He's all over the curb there, and Yakiman gets a run past them both. I think they might have touched there.
Might have hurt the car. He might have hurt the car.
Rojas slowing down.
He got
Moments ago. It's the 09 RSR.
I guess the 46 just didn't have a clue he was there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he could see him. Both cars have been limping.
Oh, that's the sort of move where you got to wait. These guys are really having a problem, then just making it much worse by not being patient. You can't just drive into the path of another race car. Seen it several times today, and there's damage and taking cars out of the action.
I could have taken the whole front end off there.
Somebody turned around.
Yeah. Oh, here we go again.
Oh, here we go again. Oh, no, you could see that coming.
What the heck are you guys
What are
thinking?
these guys thinking today?
My gosh.
Unbelievable. You just hope that everyone's okay, but some of these drivers are just making absurd decisions here.
That was just not right.
What do they think is going to happen when you
car
pull
took
out
to the
traffic?
grass there. You can see Jordan Tower. Here's something scraping too. So I think they went for a wild ride.
Oh, 08 on the left.
I don't know what that. Yeah, it's the 08.
One of the Gentilozzi
I think it was
cars.
the 87, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Caution number 8.
Yeah.
We are en route to records for yellow flag stoppages.
Well, I think a guy named Paul Gentilozzi would agree with you guys completely, obviously. Things looking so good for both cars, and then we hear about this. I come down here, your head's in your hands. A tough moment. Lucky that tag is okay, it looks like.
Well, the most important thing is that Alex is okay. He's got a little cut in his hand from what we could see on the video. He was in the car a long time, didn't answer, of course. That gave us great anxiety. So we're now sure Alex is, in the most part, physically good. I can't say much for the other driver. He was out of the car. I'm sure he needs to go get an EKG or something to make sure he's still got a brain, because somebody with a brain probably wouldn't have done that. There's no reason for it. It was just irresponsible. We come to Sebring, for me, since 1980. You know there's a lot of guys of varying talents, but you're risking your life out there. And the last thing you need is somebody to make just an irresponsible move.
It was a great piece of driving by Tag to minimize it as much as it did. On the other side,
Racing everybody.
Two very different power plants up front right now. Ryan Dial leads the field to green. Right behind him, the Daytona prototype, the number 5 of Christian Fittipaldi. I'll tell you what, Dial with a good jump on the start.
Well, this is going to be interesting because we saw the speed of those two cars was really similar, but traffic affected Ryan much more disproportionately because, like we said, where he's generating the lap time. I'm pretty sure, and I talked to him yesterday, he said if we're out front, I'm pretty sure I can stay out front, but passing is difficult. Now, if they get into traffic and Fittipaldi is able to stay close and he gets held up, he can get around it, but this will be an interesting watch with the roles flipped. And Dial was, it was neat to watch he and Bourdais going at it. They both ran the fastest laps of the race on the same lap, chasing each other. And Dial's a guy that's kind of under the radar, but if you watch him, when he was in the Star Wars car, he is always going forward. I mean, he's highly rated, but underrated in my view.
We just saw Brundle go past Tony Kanaan, and now Tony didn't like that very much because he has gone straight back. But of course, we're seeing Marino right behind in the 01 car. He's looking for an opportunity. This is great. This is road racing right now.
Good stuff. And as you said, it's where they make their lap time. You think of the open top prototype, the P2 car, as a little bit more of a momentum car. You ride on board the 01 right now, the Ford Power in the back, and now on board the 2, Simon Pagenaud, who's right behind Marino Franchitti.
Now, for our viewers, just coming up is the right-hander where we just had that last accident. So you see the speed they go through here and how they're unsighted. That's why that was quite such a big crash. It's the first time we've really ridden through there for a while. And now we're going down back straight. Can you see the DP pulling away? Let's see if he gains under braking into turn 17. The mid-corner speed should be faster under the bridge.
Look at that, under braking, big time.
Nothing he can do with that move right there.
Nope. Basically, a slower car will check your speed, whereas there's very little that's going to check the speed of the DP on the straightaway.
Well, I think that's the
GT Le Mans cars are quite a bit quicker. Oh, there's another. Those PC cars really having trouble with tire temp and grip.
Do not join the track. Let's hope. Thankfully, the whole field was bunched up enough. He was able to get stuck the other side. But now he's got his that battle for GTD, we know there's so many points on the line. There's all sorts of implications for points in this longer race, but
squeezed through to take the lead.
Garcia.
Using that GTD car as a pick.
I think he got the better run onto the back straightaway, and Garcia goes to love another victory. So would Alex Job. 25 years of sports car racing, 25 years of Sebring, Alex Job has done with the start this year, and man, Lee Keen all over the back of Madison Snow. I feel like perhaps the handling going away a bit in that 13 Rum Bum Porsche.
That was a solid move to go down the inside there
strong.
in equal cars, because, I mean, he really stuck it in there quite positively. You drive through there. Fantastic.
That would be commitment. The number 90 that you rode on board with. A problem for the 60.
Break.
John Pugh with a spin. Engine stays running, and he gets back underway.
Wondering what these cars would look like at a track like Sebring in their difference, and you talked about it earlier, Tommy. You can really see the difference between these cars, but in the same way you can here as he goes, the Muscle Milk car goes down the inside there. Very decisive in traffic.
Great move by Kyle Marcelli. He tries to follow the Muscle Milk car through, and a lot of times you can get that done. But your point about there's a Ryan Hunter-Reay spinning, makes contact with the tire wall. Your point is you get 2 minutes for the crew to get the spare parts together that are back behind the pit. The tires up to temperature and up to pressure.
I also talked about, look at that, the mummy.
It is truly amazing what Bear Bond will do, and that is the product that they're holding this car back together with. It is like quadruple ply duct tape in massive sheets.
Invented by a former crew guy of mine, Mr. Ross Jeffries.
And all the teams use it up and down pit lane. You'll see them get it ready. They'll take it off in strips and stick it on the pit box, waiting for the car to come in, and then they'll just slap it on. I'm convinced that we could probably tape Justin up to the wall with a couple of pieces of it. I'm not sure it's strong enough to take me up to the wall, but
it's hard to get off once it's on. I mean, it sticks.
It sticks to anything.
It works.
Hence Bear Bond.
Bear Bond, yeah.
Let's head down to the pits, and Greg.
Well, Mr. Dial, I think you might just be...
Scott Sharp right there, but now he did.
Oh, he did.
Slid down the inside. I thought with his tires hotter, under braking, he probably could.
Third. Take a look for the pass for the overall lead. Traffic. Good move. Good move. Kanaan just gets balked in traffic, and then it looks like Pagenaud is going to get balked in traffic too. I'm surprised Kanaan not able to mount a charge down the back straightaway.
I suspect he defended pretty, yep.
Beautiful job in traffic. Beautiful job in traffic.
Oh, that was a good eye by Kanaan.
Challenged Jeff Siegel in the GTD class.
And you can feel the intensity start to pick up now, because we're getting, we're still 4 hours and 20 minutes to the end, but we haven't been having the same rash of yellows. So the longer you go without a yellow and the closer you get from the end, people will start going, oh, we might have to start pulling these guys back in. And so it kind of
gearbox anymore. Take a look at this. You have some contact down on the racetrack. That's 912 of Michael Christensen into the 49 of Roberti down at the hairpin.
Was a little late getting in there.
Tell you what, it was way late.
This
could be bad going on that restart. He said that boy ain't afraid.
No, he's...
well, and if he doesn't make it a race car driver, he could be a linebacker, I think.
Well, no, he does wrestle. He does wrestling. The other night in a Brazilian restaurant, we met...
the familiar names we know, and a lot of these new ones you've never heard of. The search for these silver drivers that they're starting to scour the young guys that aren't on the registers yet. So if you can find literally, it's like mining for gold. You find a silver before they turn gold. Here comes Cameron down the inside. Yeah. Siegel leaves him room.
It was a gold medal move right there. So now Dane Cameron takes over the lead in GTD.
And then they're getting a little quicker under braking, a little bit mid-corner. So maybe balance shifting a little bit in favor of the P2, and that makes it easy. That was not good. No one wants to try to figure out how to get around Max Angelelli, and thanks to that little dust-up, he didn't have to worry.
Corvette is behind the Audi, and the Audi just pulls all the way across onto the racing line in a completely unnecessary manner because he can run a wider line.
I'm not sure that he can see him, though. There was another car there in the middle, and I don't think Bryce Miller knew that Van Overbeek was 2 lanes over on the inside.
He can't see.
He can't see.
He can't see. He doesn't see the Audi, I don't think.
No, I think he saw the.
Yeah.
I think he saw the Audi. The Audi's doing his own. And Bryce, very experienced guy. Let's look at the view from the Corvette here. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that puts it in perspective how fast that happened and the closing speed there.
That's
left front.
Left front.
And it looks like it's come off. Again.
There's that machining at the hub again, Dorsey.
Yeah, it's sure enough. There's it's not a wheel nut on that one, and it's about to lose. There it goes.
Look at that. Way. There goes the brake rotor, too.
No, I think that's one of those cooling duct things that they put on there. We'll get a better look at it, maybe. No, that is the brake rotor.
It's a rotor.
So, you know what he doesn't have right now?
Endurance Cup with a huge purse for the top teams in North American sports car racing. We are green once again under a gorgeous twilight sky at Sebring. How could it get better than this?
Calvin, this is what you talked about, this transitional period coming from the sun in your eyes to where it gets more pleasantly nighttime.
And the racetrack will cool down, and when you've been complaining about your race car all day long, suddenly it comes back to you a little bit. So for all of the classes bar GTLM, they only have one compounded tire to work with in the GTLM category. With the tire battle that we have there with different tire brands represented, they can switch to a softer compound to meet the cooler track conditions and really find the extra grip.
The number 3 Corvette remains in pit lane as we go back to green.
That Porsche 911, the number 911, is getting a contact penalty. They had an incident down in the hairpin turn quite a while ago, and they're now getting called on that, I believe.
They're going to be held for 80 seconds after they stop. And you know the pit lane delta, Calvin, you were talking about that before, so this is a very big penalty.
Patrick Pilet currently shown in 9th, not for long.
Cars come up to speed here. It's Gustavo Jacobin now behind the wheel of that second place car, the Oak Racing P2 configuration car. Here we see Pruitt. Amazed that this 01 is really kept right at the sharp end of the field, because outright pace, fastest lap, they're not really close. They're a 1.5 seconds off the fastest lap set in the number 1 car that currently sits right behind them. That's David Brabham behind the wheel. We hadn't seen him for a while, but Brabs came back at Petit Le Mans, put in a stunning performance, and has really got his hunger back for the game. He said, I was just burned out, I needed a break. But boy, he is certainly, you're looking at 2 of the best in the business, pretty much up in the age bracket as well, Dorsey.
Yes, they are. I'm wondering if Scott Pruitt in the
night is coming. We are coming up on 3 hours remaining in the 62nd running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. Three hours remaining in the 62nd Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. Watching the battle in the PC category, James Gouet in the number 54 from Core Autosport put this pass on David Heinemeier Hansen.
Took Hansen in really deep down into turn 1 and just did the over and under. Nice clean move by James Gouet. He doesn't have a lot of seat time in these LMPC cars. Got drafted into Daytona. Did a nice job there. Learned race. How will the DPs and the P2s in this prototype division stack up? Who will have the advantage on the longer runs? Right now might be the sweet spot for David Brabham. He looks to the inside, releases the brakes, and gets the track position.
Barbosa feinted in his direction. Leading him. Here's a replay of the pass. Whitmer dives to the outside.
Locks it up big time.
Has to go straight at the hairpin.
Yeah, I think he may have been looking in his mirrors, Doors. He missed his braking point by just half a car length, and kudos to him. He realized it wasn't
these changing temperatures. He said he thinks that's really going to help the 1 car. We heard Scott Dixon say earlier that it's going to probably take the P2 cars a little bit more to get up to speed, but he said they have tried double stinting tires and it has worked for him, and he thinks it's definitely going to work tonight. And he also said that turbo motor really
under the bridge.
Green, green, green.
Away we go.
Here we go. Let's see which of these cars comes to life in the slightly cooler conditions. A big move down to the inside.
And Memo Rojas takes the lead from David Brabham.
Well, maybe that's your answer there. We suspected with the heavier car, the DP's maybe a little bit better in getting these Continental tires up to temperature. Maybe that's a factor here. Look at this battle here.
Yakima goes underneath the Core Autosports PC class leader, and the 10 from Wayne Taylor Racing is right behind.
No one's hanging around now, and it's Colin Brown behind the wheel of the 54 machine. He's their lead driver.
Boy, you know, Memo Rojas had that planned out for at least one lap before he did that. He didn't even make any second guess about that. He just drove it down the inside.
This is amazing to me that a car is really about a second and a half off the pace throughout the course of this. Oh, someone's out wide.
Off and on.
That was the 02?
I think it was the 31.
Okay.
There was a couple of them, actually, that did that. The first one got off a little, the second one a lot.
This is when those leader lights, those glowing position indicators on the sides of the cars will really come in handy.
Not only for the fans, but for us as well.
That's right.
Glad you said it.
Absolutely.
Great.
Oh, big crash there.
Heavy.
That looks like turn 10.
So too, they are before when we saw.
This is turn 10 for sure. Watch right here. There's. No, all on his own. Got loose. And you're right, Calvin. It was the signboard that flew up in the air. I thought that was body work. I think we both did.
I don't think he really got into the tires there. He may have a slight bump, but no real damage. So he may have when he got further ahead around the racetrack.
And that caused the spin.
Good call, Calvin. That's exactly what happened there. Remember, it's really cooling out there right now, and these are new tires, so not up to temperature. Ooh, there was a little body rub right there, I think.
John Fogarty looking pretty racy there in the second of the Chevrolet Action Express machines. This thing is going to get pretty racy here, I think, Doris.
It definitely.
BMW.
Oh, spin here with the wheeling Corvette.
Car's been around a couple of times down there in the hairpin today.
Hopefully he uses a bit more patience than some of the other cars we've seen throughout the course of this race.
I was thinking that too, Cal. He's already, either the engine's not running or he's showing patience. I hope it's this latter. There you go.
Messy racetrack right there.
Oh boy.
Oh, spin right
around goes.
We talked about it. Remember, Boris just came out onto the track there and
brought the dirt out.
Sand. Dirt down.
And BMW just dropped through there too. Actually, I think it's Porsche.
Actually, it's Guy Cosmo behind the wheel of the 31 right now. Been drafted in for the weekend.
That'll catch you out, Calvin. I mean, that's all it takes. Somebody in front of you drops a wheel, brings out a lot of sand, you don't see it, and you drive into it, and there's nothing.
There's the third place Porsche in GTD, Mario Farnbacher. Behind him, the Audi of Christopher Mies.
Farnbacher, can Alex Job get another win here at Sebring?
He's good here.
He seems to have the magic, huh?
Oh, lead change right there.
The 44 goes by.
Maybe could hold it for a corner. Under pressure for sure.
Altala doesn't give up the next one. Think about that little Z4. It's got great handling, but it's got downforce that creates drag. They still don't have the outright speed of those Porsches.
White Porsches all day long, but back to the lead battle. On board the 0-1, and look at this. Memo Rojas alongside David Brabham makes the pass for the lead down at the end of the back straightaway. Can he hold it? Talked about the P2 cars being good momentum cars, good downforce, and look at that. Brabham
right
back out
underneath.
front.
Used traffic magnificently. That pass is something he's very proud of and recognized for. So he is cutting through this traffic, knowing, Tommy, that he had a little bit of touching there, but that's racing touching. That's all good stuff.
Barbosa, so Jordan Taylor has a war on two fronts. He was just about to put the move, and now look at the two Action Express cars. This is fraught.
John Fogarty in the 9. He doesn't care. He's just filling in. Remember, his regular team has withdrawn for the season after that huge crash that Memo Gidley had at the Rolex 24. Fogarty drafted into the seat of the 9 car, and he is on a tear right now. That beard that he's sporting, making him feel just a little
50, and he walked up. They are just as calm as you can be, but David Brown, look at him. Just building a big, nice 5-second gap. He's going to turn it over to Ryan Dial and let him bring it home.
And he is one of the smartest guys out there. I say that. He's very smart in a race car. I'm not sure how smart he is when it comes to choosing friends, because Justin, I know that you guys are good, close friends. But one of the more cerebral drivers out there.
Issue for the 10 car. Hesitation. We had a lead change, but there was a missed shift, it looked like, coming out of the hairpin.
Now he's being
hounded right now.
closed on by the 9, John Fogarty.
John Fogarty is going to have him down the next straight. No problem now.
He's fortunate he didn't hit anything, and I'm sure he was very well aware of where the cars were.
Great stuff. Bourdais has cleared Pla. Pla is stuck in traffic now, the 42 machine.
You really have to be aggressive on this time of the race.
There goes Pla.
On the outside, no problem, easy.
Here comes the hairpin. Watch the bumps under braking.
Look at Bourdais. He clears that GT traffic. He's got the hammer down.
Still cold tires, too. You're not up to temp yet. You have to be a little bit fragile with the brake pressure.
First order of Bourdais is to try and take care of Ryan Dial. Then he's got to hunt down Memo Rojas, but neither one of those tasks is going to be easy. Franchitti is way down the road. He had the buffer of that GTD traffic between he and the other prototypes.
Guys in the back got stacked up behind the GTs, nowhere to go with that speed they carried.
Look at the lead he's got.
Marino Franchitti's been able to open.
And you can't go until the green flag waves, and there are 4 or 5 GTD cars between he and Dial and company. Big advantage.
The backside, here's the Lamar corner, and on to the back straightaway.
Yeah, Bourdais not messing around. He's pushing hard there. I think that's the 912 car of Jörg Bergmeister, our GTLM leader.
Boy, Franchitti all the way around the corner on the front straight already. He's running for the border.
And some of it's strategy, and sometimes there's a little bit of luck. The Ganassi cars had to come to pit lane a little bit earlier than the rest of the guys because they'd pitted earlier on their previous pit stop. I think
not a problem.
And now we start counting down the corners.
Wow, look at that, 146 on the clock.
17 corners to go.
He was within 10 seconds and having to do 2 more laps, so.
That worked in his favor.
That was beautiful.
There's Ryan Dial, who has given it everything.
Still is. He's not giving up, I guarantee you.
All credit to Marino Franchitti. A lot of pressure when you get thrown in at the deep end like this. And
oh, he's got a gaggle of cars, and the WeatherTech Porsche slides.
Sliding sideways, trying to get out of the way.
Oh, and he drops off wheels, the car behind.
There's Lee Keen in the WeatherTech car.
You got to be so careful with these guys. Make sure they know you're there. Don't want, oh, and a big fire in the infield. Somebody's lit something on fire over there.
Sure, the team are talking to Marino right now, just giving him the gaps, giving him the splits back to Dial, so he knows if he can afford to wait a second or 2 if needed with this traffic. Road is glowing here tonight. What a spectacle.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of people here watching this event live.
Franchitti's name has been synonymous with success at Ganassi Racing. Now it's his younger brother here.
He'll be happy about that too.
Yep. I'm sure big brother Dario want to know all about it.
One last time down the back straight.
So much effort and frustration at the season opening Rolex 24 at Daytona. This car finished 11th in that race, and that is very much unlike the Ganassi team.
You can almost breathe now. Marino can start to take a breath.
What a stint by Marino Franchitti. This is great stuff.
Scott Pruitt said any of their drivers could be the big man when it came to closing time. That man
Good job today.
is Marino Franchitti, taking Ganassi back to the top of the podium at Sebring. Andy Lally crosses, leading the GT Daytona class. On board the GT Le Mans class leader, Jörg Bergmeister. And we await Colin Brown and Bruno Junqueira in that nose-to-tail battle that they had in PC as the fireworks explode overhead.
Bergmeister has about a 4.5 second lead over Bomarito.
Through 10, coming up through 11. Nice.
There's the 54. Not sure where Junqueira is at the 09. But Colin Brown is all by himself, and he will make it 2 straight in the 2 longest races of the year for Core Autosport.
Wow, what a great day for that group. James Guay, John Bennett share the victory. 2 in a row.
That's amazing. The 2 long distance ones, too.
And again, that phenomenal sweep of 2 classes.
There's the 912.
Jörg Bergmeister will make it complete. 2 for 2 times 2 for Core Autosport.
Wow. That is something else.
That's a statement, isn't it? How'd you like to go there?
Boy, oh boy, 291 laps completed by our race winners, equivalent of 1,088.34 miles in 12 hours. The race is over, the post-race celebrations have begun, and we'll be back to enjoy them with you. Stand by for more from the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, now concluded.